What's up and welcome back to Bardown Talking Hockey episode number 202, presented by the Barroom Network. It is the home of everything relating to the 2025 NHL Draft. My name is Vinny Parisi, and I believe the New Jersey Devils are going to win the Stanley Cup next year. And this right here, this is Frankie Mueller, and he is the king of all beans. Frank, it is too damn hot. I'm sick of this shit.
It's very hot. It's very hot.
So hot, dude.
Tom says happy before draft day.
Woo!
How you doing, Skokes? I got my draft hat on from
Let's go.
I like this draft hat. It's very clean.
So sick.
So I'm ready. Yeah, the weather stinks. But I'm ready for the draft.
Can't wait. I'm honestly so excited. You know what, Frank? Let's just get right into the hockey talk. We're going to start doing that in period number one. Frank, really quick, period one's going to be on the shorter side, but I wanted to just go over a little bit what we've seen, the tomfoolery from our friends in Sunrise, Florida. We've talked a lot about the Florida Panthers over the last handful of months, really basically the last couple years. Going back to when I told you and Joey that Barkov was a top 5 draft pick if the league were redone. The year they won the President's Trophy really started the I told you so movement. My love for Barkov. And really, they traded for Kachuk. It was a ballsy trade. It worked in their favor. They lose the cup. There were a lot of injuries. You can argue they were equal to Vegas in that Stanley Cup, but they had a bunch of guys out. And then they come back and win the next two. And they're celebrating like it's been that kind of run for them.
Yeah.
What have you seen from these absolute goobers as they make South Florida their party scene in the last week or so?
They spent $500,000 the night they won the cup at a nightclub. That's crazy. And I know people say that's chump change. They make millions. That's crazy. That's crazy to spend at a nightclub in less than 24 hours.
That's a fourth of most of the players' salaries.
The players didn't want to leave. I mean, $500K at a nightclub? I can't even imagine what you're buying to spend that much.
Probably like the $3,000 bottles of champagne add up.
That adds up. You had to rent out an area or something for like $50K. There has to be one major purchase in there.
Probably
3,000 adds up, but $500K. Come on.
But think about this, Frank. Think about it deeply, though. Money adds up. Think about this. You have 26 guys on the team, coaching staff, trainers, front office folks, families of all these people.
That's true.
I mean, I'm sure there are fans getting shots and Pink Whitney flowing and people not having to necessarily pay all the time.
Each had like a $2,000 bottle of wine to take home, like everybody.
And so I think like
That's
sometimes people like see these huge bills and it's kind of an unrelatable thing to the common man. But then you really think about how like if you go to the bar, I've woken up the next morning and had $300 missing from my account.
Yeah.
You know, from a I think there was one blackout Wednesday where I woke up. I think 200 is the most I've ever woken. And I'm not even the one who necessarily, but you're buying shots you're contributing. And so you think about that on a larger scale with a significantly larger amount of people, $500K. Damn.
I can't even fathom spending $500K at a nightclub though.
It's a bunch of rich guys chipping in. I mean, wow.
But Barkov also, he's ringing the doorbells at 4 a.m.
Yep.
That was out. He planned that though with the guy who was
his neighbor,
in the background saying, "Huh."
His neighbor, right?
Yeah, and you could hear him in the background saying, his wife or one of like the guys that was with Barkov, like, "Oh, you wanted this? Where are you?" Like, so that was all like planned. Obviously, he wasn't going door to door to people he didn't know. But yeah, Stanley Cup getting dented. The Bulls cracked not even 24 hours into winning the cup. Reinhart, he ends up. This was a little bit later, but he's serving tenders at Raising Cane's and Marchand serving blizzards from Dairy Queen. And I mean, a lot went on. It was a rager for sure.
And you know what, Frank? I love bars. It's well known that I love bars. I'm not even one to go to a bar and get sloppy. I'll have a drink or two. I like bar food. I love bar food, actually. and I like the vibe of a bar. I love going to a bar. That freaking place in South Florida, the Elbow Room. I have to go there.
Hmm.
I have to go there. And I have to go there before or after, preferably after a Panthers game. It went from like not even on my radar 2 years ago. I didn't even know what the Elbow Room was. It went like I have plenty of hockey bucket list items. One of my more fun, lighthearted ones is to go to Florida and be in Sunrise and go to the Elbow Room after a Panthers game.
I wonder how it was like after game 1 of the playoffs. Like not even a clinching, or not the playoffs of the Stanley Cup final. Like not even a clinching game. I'm sure it's loaded.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
a regular playoff game loaded.
100%. I would go if I found myself in South Florida when in a day they won I would go.
What's it called? The Elbow Room?
The Elbow Room. Wildly popular now. Really
Is
cool.
that the nightclub? The nightclub they went to, the Elbow Room?
I think it's more of like a bar club.
Okay.
It's like on the beach. It's sick. It's sick. It's got like the outdoor patio. I've seen pictures. It's definitely cool. I want to go really bad. Just to say I went in cohesion with a Panthers game.
Yeah.
Really, really cool stuff. I love seeing them celebrate. Hockey is so freaking hard. And you've won the cup twice in a row. You made it to the final 3 years in a row. I mean, that is just impossible, basically. And they did it, and they put and I've actually heard from multiple people. That guy we had on last year from Florida Hockey now said it. And then a couple hockey news people I've seen say it. Maurice runs a ship. During the regular season from September to the end of whenever they're done, they are on like a leash. And I know that probably sounds hard to believe, but it kind of makes sense when you think about how well conditioned and how prepared they are. And they probably have wine with dinner, right? I'm sure Halloween parties, rookie parties. I know those get a little rowdy, especially earlier in the season. But for the most part, the Florida Panthers are a pretty tight-knit, shut-down team in the regular season. And man, it's like when they win the cup, that wick runs out. And just freaking Reinhart was slurring his words. He popped on spitting chiclets from the pool with Marchand and Bennett, I think it was, or Kachuk. And they're just talking funny, can't understand half of what they're saying. My favorite parts, okay, so I was obviously rooting for the Oilers. I'm loyal to the Oil in the regular season and in the playoffs when they're not playing the Devils or Bruins or even Blackhawks. I'd probably root, if they played the Leafs, it'd be like I will be happy either way type of deal. But I really like the Oilers. I enjoy watching the Oilers. I think they're entertaining. But when the Panthers are chanting, "Fuck McDavid," and Brad Marchand is wearing an Oilers logo on his t-shirt, it's a sticker, but instead of Oilers, it says losers. That is fucking hilarious. That cracks me up. So I think the only way I'd get barred over it is if it were the Devils. Everyone else, even the teams I do like the Bruins or the Blackhawks or the Maple Leafs, I find it funny. It's funny to me because, I was rooting for the Oilers, but I also have a sense of I feel a little vindicated that the Oilers, especially with my pal Joey Parisi, when I told him that this was coming a couple years ago on this show, I didn't predict a borderline dynasty, but I mean, they deserve it. Chirping is fun when you're good. Their downfall will come. It happens to every team. Some people are looking forward to it. I'm interested to see how far it goes. I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it. It's always
they three-peat.
I think it's possible. It depends, and that's what we'll say. And they're chanting 8 more years for Sam Bennett. Please come back to Marchand. I mean, if they retain these guys, people disagree with me. Out of Ekblad, Bennett, and Marchand, if I could keep any of them, if I could only keep one, I would keep Ekblad. People are going to disagree with Bennett won the Conn Smythe. Marchand Bennett got 11 out of 18 Conn Smythe Trophy votes. The other 7 belonged to Marchand. But what? Ekblad did on the top pair with Forsling to shut down Mick Dry, I mean that can win you cups. That and other guys you can find.
Yeah.
I love Bennett. I think he's great. I would keep Beckblad the most. That's just the kind of hockey I believe in, and the way they shut down McDavid. But man, it's cool seeing them party. So that leads me to my last question on this topic: where in your memory does this Florida Panthers second parade / celebration after winning rank amongst all of them that you've seen throughout your hockey watching life?
It's a hard question to answer because, like, you would assume it's near the top because of how crazy it was, and it's going to be one we don't forget. Like, we're always going to be talking about. Remember when the Panthers won their second cup and the cup broke? And
last year's was crazy, but there was a lot of rain. They got rained out of the parade.
But see, I don't even remember a ton from last year.
Exactly,
it wasn't as like memorable.
Got rained out. They went to the elbow room and shit, but the parade itself got rained out.
It's gonna be up there as a top parade, a top memory. But like, other than the stories, it wasn't anything special other than all the stories. Like the actual parade itself, people don't really talk about. You know?
Yeah.
Like
I got one for you.
Okay, let's hear it.
The 2018 Washington Capitals partied unlike a team. I think this cup for Florida is second of all the parties I remember because Tampa went hard. There was some COVID involved there. I think it's getting more and more as we move along that teams go hard, and Washington kind of started it. Ovechkin was swimming in the frickin' fountain at Vegas.
Well, that was a long time coming, right? There was
so much pent up, like, can Ovi be the true? He might break the goal record. At the time, we're saying he might break the goal record, but if he doesn't have a cup, what'll it mean? I do stand by him breaking the goal record.
McDavid, if he doesn't have a cup and then he finally gets one, it's going to be the.
McDavid doesn't have the personality that Ovechkin has. Even before he won the cup, Ovechkin was always a happy, playful guy. Remember, I want to be last.
Yeah.
I need car. Ovi, you fucking make $9 million a year. Go buy a car. But it was funny. It was entertaining. I don't know if I see that but that Ovechkin, TJ Oshie on the stage, can't understand a word he's saying. That's very good. Vegas is up there. Wild Bill gets up on stage and says, "How we do in Vegas?" Wild Bill, you hardly speak ever. What are you doing? So I would put Vegas third behind the second Panthers Cup. But yeah, that Capitals team, they went on a freaking run that I'm shocked they showed up to opening night sober. That Capitals team, it was a legendary party. And they started in Vegas, so that helped. Lots of pent-up tension because of Ovechkin swimming in the ocean. He gets on stage at the rally and says with his Russian accent, "We not going to be fucking sucked this year." And I'm like, this guy's a freaking animal, dude. And I thought it was awesome. I loved it. I love seeing human beings have fun.
We're going to remember it for a while.
100%. 100%. All right, Frank, we got a lot of news to get into. And there are 2 or 3 things that are not on our sheet that we'll just touch on quickly that happened since I sent you the sheet. That happens around this time of year. We will do so in period number 2. Frank, it happened. It finally happened after lots of
I knew it.
Time. Frankie knew it so hard he accidentally turned his
my camera went off.
We'll turn it back on. We can hear you though, which is good.
Issues with the camera.
I mean, as long as we can hear you, we're good. Trevor Zegras was traded to the Philadelphia Flyers in exchange for Ryan Poehling, a former first-round pick turned fourth-line forward, and draft picks. Frank, while you fix your camera, maybe you could speak at the same time. What the heck is going on with this trade? And it seems like we lost Frankie totally. So I'll go first. Trevor Zegras. What I like about Trevor Zegras is he is incredibly skilled. He is one of the most talented forwards in the National Hockey League in terms of pure skill. Every goal he scores seems to be beautiful. Every assist he has seems to be beautiful. He is a top-tier playmaker, shooter, dangler. It's fun to watch him when he's on his game. When he's not on his game, he's invisible. I wouldn't say he's necessarily this big defensive liability, but I wouldn't say he's like a Selke Trophy candidate anytime soon either. He's got beautiful hands. He's electric. He has a big personality. The league loves him. They put him on NHL 23 or whatever it was for a reason. It's a sad trade because I really wanted him to work out in Anaheim, but it finally happened. He has been traded to the Flyers. Frank, you were about to get going, and then your camera exploded.
The camera exploded, then the mic goes out with the Like, I've been having issues with the camera. So, anyway, I'm here, but I knew it.
Here I am.
I had that feeling that Zegras didn't need to be a part of the Anaheim Ducks. The Ducks didn't need him. When Zegras was first drafted by the Ducks, he was expected to be part of the main core going forward. 9th overall pick, you're expected to potentially become the face of the franchise, to be honest with you. And he never became that guy. His first 2 full seasons in the NHL, we saw a lot of potential from him. 2 60-point seasons, but then his last 2 years have been horrible due to injuries, just too much other talent now coming to the Ducks, and he's just, he's not playing in enough games, getting that chemistry with these guys on the team. It's just they're kind of blocking him from a little bit of success, but I don't think I'll say most likely he'll never reach that ceiling that everyone thought he might have when he first entered the NHL. Trevor Zegras, his skill on the ice, it's easy on the eyes. He likes to score the pretty goals. He does things that even some of the greatest NHL players can't do, like, for example, the Michigan. If you're Trevor Zegras, this is the best case scenario for you. You're never going to reach your ceiling on the Ducks, and you probably won't on the Flyers either, but getting out of Anaheim was the best case scenario for himself to potentially get there if he can. And the Flyers, if you're the Philadelphia Flyers, you didn't create any holes in your lineup by trading Ryan Poehling. So you can argue it from a Flyers point of view. You're taking a risk on Zegras that's risk-free because it's really not going to matter in the end. So we'll see how this trade shapes out. I've last year, going into last season, I said I'll give Trevor Zegras one more chance this year if he could, prove me wrong. He didn't do that. So right now I'm out on Trevor Zegras because the amount of chances I've given the guy, but maybe that could change. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. Maybe he'll go out and have an 80-point season with the Philadelphia Flyers. We'll see. But I'm kind of out on him right now. I got to be honest with you. But from the Flyers' point of view, I understand it's kind of risk-free. So they want to take that chance. From
the Flyers' point of view, Zegras is an upgrade over Poehling. I mean, there's no arguing that. They got the best player in the trade.
That's what I mean.
So it's a good move for them. I thought Zegras would cost more, frankly. If you showed somebody a highlight package, somebody who knew nothing about hockey, someone's grandma, you show them highlights of Zegras and highlights of Nico Hischier. And, okay, grandma, who's the better player? They would think Zegras. It wouldn't even be close.
Yeah.
But nobody who knows hockey in their right mind would ever trade Nico Hischier for Trevor Zegras. You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
he's that
he
beautiful.
The goals.
Beautiful. The Michigan. He scored a Michigan the same day Bedard scored the Michigan. It was a couple days before Christmas. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. He's very talented. He doesn't play the right way all the time.
Yeah.
I have an issue with the way he plays. He's got all the skill in the world. He's going to Rick Tockett's team, where if you play a certain way under Rick Tocchet, you're not going to play. So Zegras has to reel it in this summer and understand that, yeah, your skill could come out here and there, but you can be a skilled player. And I've heard this was actually a Spit and Chiclet story because all 3 of Ryan Whitney, Paul Bissonnette, and Keith Yandel, all 3 of them have either played with or for Rick Tocchet. So they have some insight on the dude. Apparently the way he coaches, everything relates back to Sidney Crosby. And the way he plays and the way he conducts himself. And if you don't emulate Sidney Crosby, nobody's as good as Sidney Crosby. That's unfair to put on someone. It's more like your work ethic, your style of play, being hard on the forecheck. Other teams don't want to play against you because you're a mother effer. That is the type of stuff that Rick Tocchet is going to command from his players. And I'm looking forward to see if Zegras can take that step forward under time. I mean, he's 24 years old. To call him a bust or anything like that would be inaccurate. To say he hasn't reached a ceiling up to this point, I agree with you 100%. For Anaheim, they just clearly wanted to get him out of there. Q took one good look at him and said, yeah, okay, buddy. See you later.
You ain't going to deal with that shit.
Yeah. Which is funny because he dealt with Patrick Kane early. But Patrick Kane had a lot more, I don't know. He had a lot more, there was a lot more evidence that he would turn into what he turned into than there is with Zegras, if that makes sense. So it's a big trade. We'll see how it works for Philly. I still think their roster's in the tank for the upcoming season. If I had to predict the division right now, I would say the two Pennsylvania teams probably finish in 7th and 8th in the Metropolitan Division. Obviously, we'll see how that goes going forward. I wish Zegras well because I do believe the NHL would be a better place if he reached his potential. He is electric factory when things are going well. Side comment, I went to every Blackhawks home game this year except 2. I only went down on the glass for warm-ups 3 times out of 37 visits to the United Center. Can you guess what those 3 were?
The Devils?
Devils. They're my favorite team. I knew I'd get good picks.
The Bruins?
Nope.
The Ducks.
The Ducks.
I was saving the Ducks for the last one, hoping the Bruins were right. Edmonton?
Edmonton. I wanted to see Connor McDavid's warm-up routine up close. Now, Edmonton came to Chicago twice. I went down the first time. I didn't go the second time because I knew I saw it the last time. But I wanted to see Zegras up close. It was my first time ever seeing Zegras up close. And I wanted to see him. And again, if I showed my grandma warm-ups of the Ducks and warm-ups of – or if I just showed warm-ups of the Ducks, Grandma, who's the best player based on what you saw during warm-ups? It'd be freaking – this guy is unbelievable. His stick work and his ability to dangle and shoot and pass, it's basically like it's S tier. It's S tier.
Mm-hmm.
And he just hasn't put it together. I believe he could be like Pavel Datsyuk. Or I brought up Hischier earlier because I see them as similar skill sets overall. I don't think Zegras or Hischier would ever pull off like a Michigan or like a between the legs type of play, but that's a mindset thing more than a skill thing. It's using your hands to be good defensively and create offense in transition that makes me compare the two kind of. Mm-hmm. And that's where I get Pavel Datsyuk. Datsyuk was known for having flashy hands. He could score beautiful shootout goals. But what actually made Datsyuk great was that you'd be skating the opposite direction towards the net you're attacking, and then poof, it's on Datsyuk's stick going the other way because he robbed you blind without you even realizing it. That's where he got the nickname the Magic Man from. Poof, now it's on my stick. The dangles, that's all fun and dandy, dangling through people. That's magical too. But it was the thievery that made him truly great, and I hope Zegras finds that. I really do. Not too much against the Devils, though, now that he's in the Metropolitan Division. Frank, we could quickly touch on the Evander Kane trade. Evander Kane was traded from the Edmonton Oilers to the Vancouver Canucks yesterday. Do you have any quick thoughts on it?
I mean, this trade that needed to happen from the Oilers' perspective wasn't worth the money he was making. Mistakes were proving to be a huge roadblock for the Oilers. The move was also crucial to free up some space ahead of Draisaitl's contract kicking in this season, and they're going to need extra cap space with McDavid needing a new contract after this year.
And Bouchard.
But with the extra cap space that you have this year from trading or getting rid of Kane, you could find a guy to fill Evander Kane's shoes for much cheaper and a lot more discipline. I mean, don't get me wrong, the guy can score goals and play hockey, but it's the discipline and his penalties that can be a huge hindrance for teams. I'm sure he'll go to the Canucks and score his fair share of goals and points, but for a team so serious as the Oilers are to win a cup and how close they came, just wasn't worth to keep him anymore.
I'm surprised that nobody else in the league had any, I'm not going to say better offer. This goes to show what Kane's value was around the league, that they gave him to a division rival for basically nothing. It also shows Vancouver's willingness to throw a dart and hope something sticks with the year they've had. So it's weird to me. You got rid of JT Miller, because he was reportedly causing disturbances in your locker room, and then you trade for Evander Kane 6 months later. Okay, interesting. I'm sure Elias Pettersson's going to love him. And Quinn Hughes needs a contract, which no. Okay, now you're Edmonton. You freed up the $5 million. A guy who played 0 regular season games last year came back in the playoffs. Evander Kane in rounds 1, 2, and 3 was awesome. There is no denying he was great in the playoffs. And then he gets to the playoffs. And once again, Matthew Tkachuk throws him off his game. Now all of a sudden Evander Kane's thinking more about Matthew Tkachuk than he is about scoring goals. Part of what makes Florida so great. Part of what made Florida absolutely stomp on the Oilers in the Cup final. That's just the way it is. Edmonton ships him out. He's gone. They're also going to get rid of Arvidsson some way, shape, or form. So that'll free up another $4 million or whatever it is. Edmonton's going to have a little extra cap space. They do need to sign Bouchard, who I've heard he wants a contract that has double digits in terms of average annual value. McDavid's going to need a contract the following year. The cap will go up. Leon's highest AAV in the NHL until Marner signs. We'll see what his comes in at. 14 mil, that's going to kick in next year. The Oilers are going to be a really good team next year. I have no doubt in my mind about it. Probably good that they got rid of Evander Kane. And I said, the Oilers won that trade just by a salary dump. It's payback, though, for Vancouver, who robbed. I would say they robbed the Oilers in 2013 when the Devils traded Schneider to or they acquired Schneider from Vancouver for the 9th overall pick. 15 minutes before, Edmonton offered them a larger package than just the 9th overall pick. And Vancouver said, no, we're not trading Schneider to a division rival. So 13 years later or whatever it is, maybe it's a little revenge. I don't know.
Could be.
Frank, the Boston Bruins and the St. Louis Blues introduced new rebranded jerseys, and the Detroit Red Wings put out their 100th anniversary logo. I figured we could talk about all three of these things because they're kind of, similar ventures in terms of upcoming season, jersey/logo related things.
Yeah, I'm going to pull them up.
Wow, beautiful.
While we talk about it a little bit. So here are the Blues. Those are the home jerseys right there. So the thing you notice immediately is the wing it's a feathered look now, or the wing of the note almost looks like a bird. It's like a feather look. Kind of reminds me of a Maple Leafs logo. I really like it a lot, to be honest with you, but it kind of reminds me of bird feathers though. And here, and it goes, it's not a knockoff, but it's designed from their heritage logo, which I think somewhere on here is a side-by-side of the right here. So the heritage notes on the right, the new notes on the left. You could see the feathered part of the music note up here, resembling the new note, except there's a lot less yellow. I really like it a lot. I don't know how you feel about it, VP, but I like it a lot. It looks clean on a jersey.
Frank, I think the St. Louis Blues finally got it right. That is one of the best logos in sports. It always has been. The blue note is iconic. It's a beautiful thing. Their color scheme has been horrible. I hate the navy jerseys. I hated that era of Blues jerseys. It was horrible, and they were really good while wearing them, which is the sad part. This color combination is awesome. These homes, these aways. I love all the alternate logos. The treble clef logo that was on their Winter Classic jersey as a patch is going to be a patch on these. It is awesome. I'm obsessed with them. I want to get one. That's how much I like them. They are so clean. It's a classic logo on a clean jersey, though even the roads look good. I've heard they're using their old ugly one as an alternate. I hate that. I hate that.
That'll be their third.
Yeah, nasty. Don't need to see that ever again, but whatever. As long as their homes and aways are this beautiful, and they're kind of like, they have those three logos, if you scroll down a little bit, those three logos those. I mean, the treble clef STL in the middle, that is so sick. for someone who loves music and sports together as much as me, I mean, that is just awesome. I love the Saint logo with the blue note, or the note in the middle of that too. The trumpet in the middle. The Blues hit a home run. I'm excited to see them in person this year. I kind of want to get to Scott's Trade Center. I don't even know if that's what they call it anymore. Is it Enterprise Center now?
Yeah.
I want to get there and see the home jerseys in person. I really, really do. I'm going to do my best to make that happen this year. So yeah, it's good stuff. Good on the Blues, and then the Boston Bruins, Frank.
Yep, I got that too. One sec. That's the logo right there, the new logo.
Yep.
Hold on. There it is on a jersey. This is a little. The Bruins went for a simpler design here, so I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's like, a 5-year-old drew it a little less. There's not as many details. The spokes in the logo are a lot more plain. They're solid gold and black on the home and road jerseys, respectively. They went for simplicity over complexity, which is not a bad thing. Like I said, the main thing, and I'll scroll down to the logo if you give me 1 sec here. Is these spokes right here. This is like the road jersey logo. The spokes are solid yellow. On the home jerseys up here, they're solid black. The B is just simpler. When you look at it, it's just they got straight to the point. And I don't hate it. I like the Blues better, but it's just more of a simple look. I don't hate them. I like them. They're fine. Yeah.
See, I think now the Bruins have a top 10 jersey in the NHL.
See, I always thought they did.
Me too. It might be higher now, though. I think them and the Blues hit home runs for the same reasons. Sometimes when you have a classic logo, you slap it on the jersey and you don't make it too loud. I don't need the Bruins or the Blues to have too loud of a jersey. The B is huge. That's something I've seen people say. There's some Stadium Series-esque-ness to how big the logo is on their chest. It's bigger than the other ones. Notably, McAvoy and Pasternak both wearing A's in this picture. Makes me wonder if they enter 2025-26 without a captain, because that would have been a real unique opportunity to name one of them the captain. It would be one of them if it were somebody on the team, unless they think there's a chance Brad Marchand comes back, but we'll see. But yeah, I think the Bruins hit a home run. I love how the bottom, the stripes, it's a little more vibrant yellow. It's like a mix of their 100th anniversary jerseys that they wore all year 2 years ago and the one they wore for one game against Montreal last year. It's like they put them two together. I heard a prediction from Pete Blackburn that their Stadium Series jersey this upcoming season, his prediction is it'll just be a gold version of this. And I would think that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Road, white, home, black, alternate gold. That would just be so Boston Bruins. That's what I'm rooting for. I like the simplicity of it sometimes. And the logo's big enough to be a Stadium Series logo, I think. You probably make the numbers bigger on the Stadium Series one, the yellow one. So, yeah, good stuff from the Bruins.
Simple and clean.
Yep, good stuff from the Bruins and the Blues, who both might, in my opinion, have top 10 jerseys in the National Hockey League now. Frank, what about Red Wings 100 logo?
Yep, got that one too. Let's see.
Good work, Frank, having this shit ready to rock.
So here we go. My immediate reactions when I see this one, it's my favorite of the three new ones.
Wait a minute, Frank.
What?
We're thinking of different things here. This isn't a new Red Wings jersey. This is their old jersey. They released that.
This?
That.
Oh, this.
Yeah. That is their 100th anniversary logo.
What's this?
That's just a Red Wings jersey.
I don't know why it looked different, because like the extra feathers. I never remember them having these extra.
When you zoom in on the Red Wings logo, you see how beautiful it actually is.
This.
Yes. That is, you know how the Hawks released theirs?
Yeah.
And the Hawks.
I like it better here than I do here.
Where?
So right here
Yeah.
is this. I like it better here.
What's the difference?
I don't know. It just looks cleaner, but I think it's the same logo.
It is. It 100% is.
Okay, so
And
here's this logo.
I think they hit a home run.
Oh, see, I'm not. I like. I don't know. I don't know.
I will tell you
that logo is going to be on the ice, right?
Well, okay, so that's
If
what
it-
I was going to
If
bring up
it's on the
next.
jersey, I don't like it.
No, it's not going to be on the jersey. I wouldn't
Oh.
like it on the jersey either. I mean,
Oh, okay.
a patch on
Yeah.
the shoulder. No, yeah, that's
Okay.
yeah, it's their 100th anniversary logo.
Oh, then yeah, I like it.
I love it. I think they have the best 100th anniversary logo. I went back and looked at the Habs, all the original 6. Theirs is the best. It's not close either. The Blackhawks is probably my second favorite. I really like Chicago's, but this is a thing of beauty for a 100th logo. Oh, on a jersey, that would be puke.
Yeah, no,
Frank,
I thought it was on the jersey.
No. They are hosting a contest online. If you're watching at home, you can vote on which one they'll put on center ice. Either the logo with the word Hockey Town in front of it or the blank one. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if I could.
So if you're listening to the audio podcast without video, it is the 100th anniversary logo that the Red Wings dropped. They're doing a contest for center ice. One says Hockey Town in front of it, one does not. So we'll see what happens.
Which
would you vote for?
The left.
I would also the one without it.
The one without the Hockey Town, yeah.
I would too.
Oops.
But I'm telling you right now, that's not going to win.
You don't think so?
I don't, because I'm looking at all the comments and the people are begging for them to go with the one that says Hockey Town.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I have a feeling that's going to be the one that
but
wins.
I don't hate both. I don't hate
No, of course. And that Hockey Town logo, it's got like funky font and like the K is taller than the rest of the word. I don't know what it is.
A lot of people like extra like that. They like not as simple. They like things like Hockey Town and adding more things. So I understand why it would win, but
and I think Hockey Town written in that font has been on their ice in the past. And
it has been, yeah.
They took it away, so the fans want it back. Like I think that there's some nostalgia that goes into that as well. I think they hit a home run with it. I want to get to Detroit just to see it on the ice. I really do.
It does
it's cool.
Detroit's
it's a cool.
Not that far. I'd go to a Wings game.
Well, maybe we can make that happen. I'm serious. We could probably do that. I love going to the Red Wings.
There. I still wish it was the Joe Louis Arena because that would have been cool to go to the Joe. But I know you were there.
I went to the Joe in its final season.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was incredible.
Little Caesars Arena though, sick.
I've also been there. It was sick. It's cool. It's got a more modern feel. You walk in there and you just look up and you're like, this place is freaking huge. So yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. I'm excited for these 100-year anniversary things that they're putting out. Frank, last thing I wanted to touch on before the things that kind of came in since I gave the sheet, the Hockey Hall of Fame. The 2025 Hockey Hall of Fame class will feature Joe Thornton, Zdeno Chara, Duncan Keith, Alexander McGillney, Jennifer Botterill, Brianna Decker, Jack Parker as a builder, and Danielle Savigua as a builder.
Yeah, got some. Now we're fully in the era where now I know basically everybody who's being inducted in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Same.
So,
even the women players.
Even the women, yeah.
Yep, Brianna Decker was on that sick team.
The only one I don't know is Jack Parker. That's the only one of the 8 I really am not familiar with too much. Mm-hmm. But the other 7, yeah. I mean, what a class, right? Especially for me with seeing Duncan Keith there, one of the most dominating two-way defenders in his era, one of the best defensemen during his time in the NHL, 3 cups, 2 Norris trophies, a Conn Smythe winner, truly did it all. And obviously Zdeno Chara, 2 6-time Norris finalists, won the Norris 1 time, 7-time All-Star. I mean, these guys, and Joe Thornton. I mean, we just keep going down the list. It's like it keeps getting better and better. I mean, over 1,500 points, one of the best playmakers of all time. What a class we have. And then shout out to Mogilny.
McGillney.
McGillney finally gets in after 17 years of eligibility, which if you look at his stats and what he's done, he deserves to be in. I mean, he's had some great seasons. Believe he had a couple 100-point seasons. I know he had at least one, but he wasn't as dominant as the other three guys that I named before him, but he deserves to be there. I'm happy for him. So, yeah.
Joe Thornton is one of the best pure passers I've ever seen. Truly. Either him or Nicholas Backstrom, the best two-way or the best two pure passers. Didn't score a crap ton of goals, probably 200 something goals each, I think, for them. But for Joe Thornton specifically, Zdeno Chara and Duncan Keith, I think each of them had a 5-year period where they were the best defensemen in the National Hockey League. Keith was so cerebral. I loved watching him play because if you knew he was the one defenseman in a 2-on-1, the guy with the puck better shoot. Because if he tried to pass it, not happening. Not happening. The way he would shut people down from behind without taking a penalty was unlike anything I've ever seen. He created offense here and there. The shot wasn't as booming as, say, Brent Seabrook, his partner, but that's why he played with Brent Seabrook. He was physical, he was mean, but he wasn't as brutal with his hits as, say, a Brent Seabrook or, as a Zdeno Chara. When Chara came into the league, he was this big, clunky guy who didn't know how to skate. And then all of a sudden it clicked for him. Anyone who thinks he was just good because he was big is wrong. There are a lot of big guys that suck or aren't as good. Zdeno Chara right there. Botterill and Decker, two of the greatest women players ever. Loved seeing them play. I especially remember Brianna Decker, cheering her on. She was big in the 2014 gold medal winning team in Sochi. Big time fun. Loved that. And then, of course, Alexander McGillney. Only 3 years with the Devils, but in 2 of those 3 years, he appeared in the Stanley Cup final. They won one of them. So obviously, even though it was a short 3 years, it was an impactful 3 years with the Devils. A lot of Devils fans have been clamoring for him to get in to the Hockey Hall of Fame. I believe Buffalo Sabres fans are the other fan base mainly clamoring for him to get in over a long period of time. It's like people who want Keith Tkachuk to be the next guy. Roenick had it last year. It always seems like there's one late guy who was late to getting in the Hall of Fame every year. Last year it was Roenick. This year it's McGillney. Maybe next year it will be Keith Tkachuk. Maybe Steve Larmer will be the guy one of these years. Loved all these people. Thought they were awesome. Chara, man. The funny thing about Thornton and Chara getting in the same year is the Bruins traded Thornton to San Jose for basically nothing. I think their current head coach, Marco Sturm, actually came back in the trade for Joe Thornton. And that gave the Bruins the cap space they needed to then that summer sign Zdeno Chara. And then they went on to win the Stanley Cup, and they both get in the Hall of Fame in the same year. So it's pretty funny the way that all worked out.
Do you remember the wakey game?
I'll never forget the wakey game. He hits David Backes. Yep. Backes kind of lost his marbles a little bit there for a second. Duncan Keith goes, wakey, Backy. And then there was the game where he lost his glove in the middle of a play, or I think it was at the end of a play. He lost his glove. It's on the ice, and Jeff Carter kind of kicked it out of the way a little bit, and Duncan Keith baseball swatted his face, and then immediately regretted it. He went right up to Carter and said, "I'm sorry," and then served his 1-game suspension with pride in the playoffs. I believe the Hawks ended up going on to win the Stanley Cup in each of those 2 years. So basically, if Keith had a meltdown in the playoffs of some sort, you knew you were going to win the Cup.
So he needed one in 2014.
Yeah, seriously. Duncan Keith is incredible. I don't know who I would take 1 for 1, Keith or Chara. I think each of them had a 5-year period, again, where they were the best. It's close, man. It's awesome that they got to battle each other in the Cup.
Yeah.
And each of them got a separate cup along the way as well. Man, they were both just so good. I saw more of Keith because a lot of Chara's early prime was, when I was a young lad. It was the later portion of his prime into the twilight of his career that I fully remember. Keith, I saw basically everything. Mm-hmm. That was awesome. So, and Jumbo, we were big fans of you, man. When we had a big big kind of. I think we dedicated a whole period to Jumbo when he retired.
We did.
So
Yeah.
love that for all the Hall of Fame people. Quickly, Frank, running through the news. Last night at around 10:30, news started to circle that J.J. Peterka was traded to the Utah Mammoth in exchange for Michael Kesselring, a very good young defenseman, and Josh Doan, who's still coming up as a prospect in the system. He will be in Buffalo's lineup next season.
JJ's good. I like JJ
and
a lot.
JJ's very good.
There was rumors that he was going to be a Hawk, like not this year, but I feel like over the course of, his light career he's had, I feel like there were rumors in there.
The article I wrote, Frank, Blackhawks potential trade target J.J. Peterka is no longer available.
Yeah. Tom actually sent me this news this morning because it's something we've talked about. We've talked about him a lot. But, yeah, where did he go again? I'm drawing a blank.
Utah.
Or Utah, yeah. So, good for Utah. Good for the Mammoth.
Very good. Yeah, their top six is awesome. Logan Cooley, Clayton Keller, and J.J. Peterka are going to light the world on fire.
Oh, yeah.
100%. And I skipped over Burakovsky. I have it on the list. I was in the Zoom with him yesterday. There was only one person I thought of when he said this line, and it was Mr. Frankie Mueller himself. He goes, I grew up Blackhawks fan. I was like, Frankie's going to freaking love this guy.
Oh, yeah.
There's Burakovsky. I took a screenshot.
I like Burakovsky.
Nice man. Didn't know he had the accent that he has. But
Burakovsky, man, it's a good trade for the Hawks.
It is. He got hot at the end of last year, too.
And here's the thing. You get a guy with more production than Veleno and a ton more experience. A 2-time Stanley Cup winner, a guy who's been there, done that, played in some of the most competitive NHL games that you could play in, being Stanley Cup final games. This is a veteran you want to add to your team with how young the Blackhawks are, right? He's definitely a bit overpaid for my liking. $5.5 million with the guy with his production is not great, but he definitely makes up for it with his experience. And the Blackhawks have a ton of cap space right now that they could afford to do a contract like this with this type of player. So I love it.
100%. I like it too. He had 37 points last year. It's more than Joe Veleno's 19. It's an upgrade in terms of offensive production.
100%.
It's an upgrade in terms of experience. You brought up Cups. Arguably more important than Cups is knowing how to surround himself with Alexander Ovechkin, Nicholas Backstrom, TJ Oshie, Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, Connor Bedard, maybe Frank Nazar, maybe Rinzel. I mean, he knows what it's like to be around super talented people. People talking about his production being down. Listen, he probably only had like 2 or 3 more seasons with more points than he had last year at 30. He had the 160-point year. Like, he's a middle six depth scorer. You're not getting, 100 points from this guy. It's just, is he a little overpaid for that production? Well, yeah, Seattle wanted to bring in a familiar name, and he was injured for a lot of it. They overpaid him. That happens in free agency. Well, now he's on the Blackhawks, a team with unlimited money. I mean, unlimited money. And by the time his contract ends, the team will then now be really starting to kick in the Bedard extension or a Nazar extension, maybe paying Levshunov, guys like that, Rinzel, anyone else they draft in the coming days. It's a win-win for the Black. We're not paying him, and it's not hurting the salary cap.
Right.
So really, who cares what he makes?
That's
at
what
that
I said.
point.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No, not at all. And then today, Freddie Gaudreau was traded to the Seattle Kraken from the Minnesota Wild, and the San Jose Sharks placed Marc-Edouard Vlasic on waivers for the purpose of unconditional buyout. Maybe he'll consider coming to play with his cousin for a little year, be a healthy scratch most of the time, but a good guy in the locker room.
Yeah, Freddie Gaudreau, man, he's a good player.
Mm-hmm.
I think I see a lot of potential in Freddie Gaudreau. And now he's on the Kraken, you said?
Yep.
Seattle, though, I just don't know about the Kraken as a whole right now. They're in a weird spot.
Yeah, they're a bad organization.
I feel like they should have been better, though.
We could call it what it is now.
They should be better, though.
Yeah. Is it raining?
Early on, you had those good seasons, and they should be better. I feel like you're right. They're a bad organization because the moves they make, they just don't make sense, or they don't live up to the how they should. They just stink.
They were getting the benefit of the doubt from me for a while, and it's mostly gone.
Like if I'm
You've been in the
Freddie,
league
I
long
don't want to
enough
go to
now.
Seattle.
No. Vegas was approaching their first Stanley Cup victory by the time they were where Seattle is now. And you can't compare anything to Vegas. They're aliens. I get that. That's not realistic. But you took that step in year 2. You beat Colorado in the first round, the defending Stanley Cup champions in the first round. Beniers hasn't taken another step. Shane Wright was okay this year. I thought the development of Shane Wright, they've been doing Shane Wright well. I appreciate how they've handled him. But some of the moves they've made, I'm just not about it. Philip Grubauer kind of fell off.
Dan Bilesma.
Dan Bilesma. I warned you against that. That wasn't smart. I don't know
I
why.
had a feeling,
I
dude,
don't know
he was gonna
why.
be good.
I'm not a
I
Bilesma
thought-
guy anymore.
I thought he would have, to be honest with you. I really did.
I believe it. Hey, sometimes that happens.
But
All right, Frank, we're going to move on to the 2025 NHL Draft in period number 3. Welcome to period 3, Frank. I just want to have a quick general conversation about the 2025
I'm
NHL
excited.
Draft. Tomorrow night, ESPN. The New York Islanders are set to make the first overall pick. You have the San Jose Sharks third, the Chicago Blackhawks, or the San Jose Sharks second, excuse me, the Chicago Blackhawks third. What are you kind of looking for at this stage going in right now?
well, in terms of what? The whole draft or the Hawks?
The whole draft, the Hawks, like, what are you
I-
excited for? Do you think there's going to be any?
When I love the draft. Okay. I look forward to the draft. I can't wait to lock in. I'm gonna dial into the draft. When I watch a draft, well, especially the past few years, I can't wait to see the Hawks choose, but I want a little excitement. I want to see. I love when Bettman goes up to the podium, says we have a trade to announce. I live for that stuff. And last year we didn't get that once, or was it the year before? One of the past couple years we didn't get it once. There was no trades.
Mhm.
It was boring. It was like, come on, give me something. I want juiciness. We didn't get that. I hope we get that this year. I'm excited to see who the Hawks take. It's been flip. It's Misa now. Could it be who's that? Who's the oh my god, I can't think of his name.
Just describe him.
The guy who they think they're gonna take now.
Number
Not
1
Fran-
overall?
No. For the Hawks, not Frundell.
Martone? Hagens?
No, Martone. Maybe it is Frundell.
Frondell?
Maybe it is.
Frondell's supposed to go third.
Denoyer's another guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take Denoyer. I mean, there's a couple people I rather on the Hawks. I rather them choose, but it's Misa. I think it's Frondell now, who everybody thinks the Hawks are going to take. I still like Misa. I'm hoping they lean that way. Who'd you say is projected to go second?
Misa.
You think the Sharks will take him?
I think they should.
I think they're passing on him. I actually.
I do too. I think there's a chance they take Frondell and leave Misa to the Hawks. That would be a mistake.
Porter Matone.
I would take Hagen still. I'm standing by it. I'll die on that. Bowen Byram, the only Stanley Cup champion besides Spencer Knight, who was a third-string goalie.
I think Hagens is going to jump up a little bit. It's going to be taken higher than most people think. To be honest with you,
I hope he falls to the Bruins.
No, I don't think he's going to fall that far. I think he goes top 5.
I heard he's going to fall more than we think.
Really?
Which is BS. Absolutely.
Watch him go to the Flyers at 6.
Yeah, who, Hagens?
Yeah.
That would be higher than I'm expecting at this point, and it's just because people are dumb. I believe there is an imperfect understanding of what makes winning hockey in the NHL.
Everybody expected Hagens to be a top 2 draft pick early on. He was
the consensus number 1 coming in to this season.
Was he consensus 1? Oh, yeah, he was.
Coming into the season. James Hagens was the guy.
And then it's like
now a defenseman who played half the year is the guy.
And now it's like so everybody projected him to be like 1 or 2. Now he's projected to be like out of the top 10 or whatever. I think he goes top 5. I do.
I hope. Frank, I'm standing by it. Listen, I don't think I'm good at everything. I'm very bad at predicting individual outcomes. Otherwise, my wedding would be, I say it all the time, my wedding would be paid for and I'd be living in a mansion if I was good at predicting outcomes of games. We all suck at that, really. I have, in recent years, had a pretty good track record of prospect evaluation, I put a lot of hours into YouTube. I put a lot of hours into writing about these guys. I wanted the Blackhawks to take Bowen Byram third overall in 2018 or 19. Bowen Byram's the only player in the top round of that draft, besides Spencer Knight, who was a third string goalie on the team that won. Bowen Byram is the only player to win the Stanley Cup from that draft. He's had concussion issues and inconsistencies since then, but coming out of the draft, he was the best defenseman. In a redraft, I think Moritz Seider goes second overall behind Jack Hughes. But for the most part, the Bowen Byram thing was accurate. You'd rather him over Kirby Dach. You'd rather him over Zegras. You'd rather him over Cousins, Turcotte, all the guys that went in that draft. I hated Boquist the day they made it. I thought they should either take Keandre Miller or Quinn Hughes or Bouchard or I liked Dobson too. Well, Bouchard's going to get $10 million. McDavid and Draisaitl have helped that. I'm not stupid, but he can make a breakout pass that helps McDavid. McDavid and Draisaitl love having him too. There's a reason Darnell Nurse and other defensemen don't have 90 points as a defenseman on the Oilers either. Dobson's a very good player. Or Bouchard, I mean. Dobson, really good for the Islanders. Kind of a step back this year. He kind of plateaued, but last year he was sensational. He's certainly better than Boquist, who's on like his fifth team, probably going to be out of the league next year now. Quinn Hughes didn't make it to the Hawks. He was taken one pick prior, so I can't get on him for leaving him on the board. 2020 is a crapshoot. The Leafs drafted 12 players in 2020, and none of them played a game.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 2020 is a wild draft if you look back at it. So, I think Hagens is unbelievable. Bennett is an inch taller than Hagens. Crosby and Kane are the same height. I mean, people getting on him for his height, and he wasn't Macklin Celebrini in college. Okay, well, Macklin Celebrini is a better player than Hagens. I'm not arguing that so far. But Hagens had 37 points in 37 games in college. That is impossible to do as a freshman, an undrafted freshman. It's borderline impossible. He stepped into Will Smith's spot on Boston College and in between Perreault and Leonard and dominated. He was the best player on the World Junior team that won gold. He had 9 points in 7 games, 5 goals. He's going to go back to Boston College next year and light it up. Light it up. He's going to win the Hobie Baker, and people are going to say, how did we let him fall to 9th overall? How did we let Pittsburgh get him at 11? How did we let Bruins get him at 7? I'm telling you right now, there's a reason Nazar hit the ground running in the NHL. College has done a better job lately. In the last 5 years, they have been more prepared for the pros than the OHL, any of the CHL.
Let me ask you a question, VP. Where would you take him now?
Who?
Hagens.
I would take him first overall. If I were the New York Islanders, I would walk up to that stage and take the hometown kid, James Hagens. I said it about Bouillon last year. I still like him better than Levchinov. Barely. I like Levchinov. Nice kid. I've softened up because I get to see him more often, and he's been nice to me and he answers questions properly. And when I met him in Rockford, especially, that shouldn't sway me, but it has a little bit. But Bouillon's incredible, and he made me feel real good about thinking he should have went. And then Demidov, he went silent in the playoffs after that great debut against the Blackhawks. I don't know. I would take Hagens first. I would take Schaefer second. I would take Misa third. And then I would go Frondel fourth, Martone fifth. That's not what I think is going to happen. That's my personal. I think people are going to regret Hagens in a couple years. I really.
There's like probably a 0% chance that they don't choose Schaefer.
Who?
The Islanders.
I think the Islanders are going to take Schaefer.
It's like a guarantee.
And Frank, what do I always tell you? Mediocre to poor franchises stay mediocre to poor franchise. And listen, if Matthew Schaefer turns out to be a Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar level defenseman, hell, even if he becomes Bouchard or Rinzel, one of those A-tier guys rather than S-tier young players, I'm not going to feel dumb because I have a problem with being that bullish on a teenage defenseman who played half a season. And you never heard of him a year ago. You heard of Misa a year ago. You
Yeah.
heard of Hagens a year ago. I do believe there is an imperfect understanding, and this is, the NHL team should just watch Moneyball, an imperfect understanding of where wins come from. You need to be able to score to make the playoffs. I don't think he could be like the best player on your team to win the Stanley Cup. But if you have Bedard and Nazar as your top two centers, and then all of a sudden you throw in Hagens, or you sign a big center and make Nazar and Hagens both wingers, or you make Bedard a winger. I don't know the combination that works. But like I said, Patrick Kane is 5'11" too, just like Hagens. Is Hagens real thin and strong? Well, yeah, he's 18 years old. He just finished his freshman year in college as an underage freshman. He completed his senior year of high school early so he could go to BC early. If he played in the OHL, Frank, I wholeheartedly believe if you flipped Misa and Hagens, the teams they were on this year, Hagens would have had 180 points too. I have zero doubt in my mind. And we'll see. Guys could get hurt. Kind of slowed Bowen Byram down a little bit, injury, after his great first 2 years in the NHL. Injuries happen. I can't control that. You always have to leave that little caveat when evaluating 20-year-olds, 18-year-olds. But overall, though, very excited about the draft. I think there's a chance all these guys turn out to be good. Every time they say the draft stinks, the draft's underwhelming, they said that about 2017. Oh, 2017. You mean that draft that went Heischer, Patrick, Heiskanen, Makar, Pettersson, Glass. Who went seventh? There's another good player that went in the top 10. Anyway, that's a pretty damn good top 6 other than Patrick. I don't know, man. These bad drafts always scare me.
I want
A surprise?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Utah didn't trade the 4th overall pick. They kept it.
I want a surprise.
I'm worried you're not going to get one just because it's decentralized. There's no floor for all the GMs to go hang out on.
I hate that too, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Word is that this is the only year that it's going to be like that. And I'm going to ask Kyle Davidson tomorrow night. If nobody asks him before me, Kyle, what do you think of the decentralized draft? I have every right to ask that. It's just asking for his opinion. It's not, that wouldn't sound like a weird question, do you think?
No,
if you heard somebody else let's say you're watching on TV, I'm not in this job, and you heard Mark Lazarus or Ben Pope ask that, it would sound like a normal question, right?
It's a normal question, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, I think I'm going to do it. If nobody else asks before me, I always kind of be respectful.
Nothing wrong with that. You're just asking, what did you think of the draft?
Well, you can ask questions that make no sense or will get you clowned.
Yeah, but that's a real question. What did you think of the
100%.
Draft? It's a new format. It's not like
Kyle, decentralized draft for the first time. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine.
100%. 100%.
So yeah, I can't wait.
Me too. It's going to be good. Watch it on ESPN, I said, and then maybe go to CHSN after for Kyle Davidson. I don't know. We'll post links on Twitter. Very excited, Frank. You have anything else you want to comment on the draft before we head on over to Breaking Bets for you?
I'm also excited to see what the draft hat looks like. I own 2 draft hats. There's no way to check that out now, right?
I could look into it. I have 3. All 3 Hughes, or both Hughes brothers and Heischer.
Yeah.
So, all right, Frank. It's time to send it over to America's favorite podcast segment of the week, Breaking Bets.
Where's my money, bitch?
Frank, the time for talk is over. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, we got one big pick and then some fun picks in there for the draft. First of all, the Cubs and Cardinals play the 4th game of their 4-game series tonight. Shota Imanaga will be back on the mound for the Chicago Cubs, coming back from a lengthy injury. I'm gonna go with no run in the first inning in the Cubs Cardinals game. You get this pick in now because the game's literally about to start in like 10 minutes. But like I said, Imanaga's back. He's probably going to be on a pitch count, so he's not going to go deep into this game. But I do think he's going to be very effective in this game for the time he does pitches. The only problem you have to worry about is Palante giving up an early run against the Cubs. I think the value at plus 100 for no run in the first inning is worth it, especially because this line indicates the books don't know how Imanaga is going to come out of the gate coming back from that long, lengthy injury. So they don't know how he's going to hold up, but I do think the value is worth it there. I think he'll be just fine. So no run first inning in the Cubs Cardinals games, plus 100 for 2 units. Yeah, that game's going to start in literally less than 10 minutes. So got to be watching now to get the pick in. Otherwise, you're probably going to miss out. And then the other, I got 3 draft picks to sprinkle in there, have a little bit fun, makes watching the draft a little bit better for any of those you guys watching. I'm going to go Michael Misa to be drafted 3rd overall by the Blackhawks at plus 130 or plus 230 for 1 unit. Porter Matone to be drafted in the top 5 at minus 150, I think I'd be shocked if he falls out of the top 5, Martone. And then James Higgins to be drafted in the top 5 as well, plus 125. I do think he might go a little higher than people think because a lot of people think he's going to go lower now and fall. But I do think there's that chance he goes higher. Maybe that is the surprise I'm looking for. James Higgins to be drafted in the top 5 at plus 125 for 1 unit. Those are the picks for you. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a fun time. So that's what I got for you.
You can't hit on both of those.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer.
It's not really meant to be. They're just kind of giving them to people.
Okay.
It's not meant to hit on both, but you never know. You never know.
Because like Misa and Schaefer are locks for top 3.
Yeah.
And I think Frondell, if he doesn't go to San Jose, I think that's who the Blackhawks are going to take. So that's the top 3.
Thinks.
And then if Utah keeps the pick, and I don't know this, I haven't heard it, nobody's tweeted it. This is a Vinny Parisi brain working the way it does. Just the way it is. Don't be surprised if Utah gets on that stage and everybody's sending like a fun person to represent them to make the picks in person. All the GMs will be in their cities. Some teams have announced who they are sending to make the pick, like comedians, actors, other athletes, players on the team. It could be whatever.
Who's doing the Blackhawks?
I have no clue.
Should be CM Punk.
That would be hilarious. That would be awesome. And it's in LA. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if Utah gets on that stage and picks Jake O'Brien, a name we never even mentioned. I think Utah likes him.
All right.
So, and then I think we've been saying it wrong. Denye. Denoyer. Denye. Caleb Denye. I think. There's one I haven't. Oh, Higgins. If Higgins falls to Pittsburgh at 11, like they're saying,
that's crazy.
They have back-to-back picks because the Rangers relinquished their first-round pick. It was either this year's first-round pick or next year's first-round pick. And even the big, bad New York Rangers are scared of handing away that Gavin McKenna ticket. They're basically saying, hey, we think there's a chance we're bad enough to get McKenna, so we're not going to even risk the 3% chance or whatever.
Montreal's got back-to-back picks too.
I have a tweet from Darren Dreger, who's probably the person I trust second most behind Elliott. Several first-round picks in play, especially with clubs with more than one. Pitt will move 11 or 12 for the right young player. Montreal would move 16 or 17. Habs need a top 6 forward. Philly wants to keep 6, but will trade 21 or 31. Nashville has 5, 23, and 26 and is still evaluating options. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams with multiple. The Blackhawks have 2 also.
They have 2, yeah.
There's like 5 teams with multiple first-round picks.
Yeah, there's a
Calgary,
lot of teams that aren't drafting in the first round.
the Devils.
I know.
If Hagens falls, for the love of God, trade back in and get him.
We'll see. Chicago's got 2. Montreal's got
Passed
2.
on
Calgary's
Bouillon,
got 2.
When Bouillon wins the Norris Trophy, I'm going to laugh.
Philadelphia's got 2.
Yep,
Pittsburgh.
Philadelphia has 2. Yep.
There's a lot that have 2.
It's funny because Pitt got that second one from the Rangers, but it's actually from Vancouver. Yeah, it's from Vancouver. So it was the JT Miller trade that the Rangers had to give one of the 2 to Pittsburgh to complete a trade that Vancouver made with Pittsburgh to complete the JT Miller trade that they made with, I know it's confusing. I also know Florida's pick, 32nd overall, was transferred to Calgary to complete the Matthew Tkachuk trade. So, a little bit of info for you. Got anything else, Frank?
That's it, VP.
That's it. Very, very good. Exciting stuff. Hope everybody enjoys the draft tomorrow night. Send me DMs on Twitter. Send me text messages. I love talking draft. It's very fun. I'll be at Fifth Third Arena getting ready to speak with Kyle Davidson after the Blackhawks make picks. After each pick, too, a Zoom link. So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time. And then 2nd round through 7th round on Saturday. I'm not going to 5th, 3rd for it. Little family reunion, so I'm going to go to that instead and work remote for that. But tomorrow night, looking forward to it all. Hope everybody enjoys. For Frank Mueller at the King Bean, he wants Misa for his favorite team. I'm Vinny Parisi at Vinny Parisi on Twitter.com. I want the Blackhawks to take either Misa or Hagens. I think they're both going to be elite forwards in the NHL. There's a couple elite forwards possibly. We'll see how it goes. The draft is always fun. Nobody knows anything at the end of the day. And as always, thank you for listening.